Okay, I want you to plan this question. Do not make the code yet. Just plan what it's going to look like and how you're going to go about it. Okay, so we've got a 2D array called account. So I'm just going to do that here. I'm hoping you've given this a go yourself first, by the way. Account contains names and passwords. So it's going to look like this. This is going to be like someone's name, like Joe, and the password hello1. Mark, well, let's do Mary by 2. Okay, got it. We've got another 2D array called account details. So I'm just going to do ac details. We've got column 1, column 2, column 3. So it'll look something like this. Column 1, column 2, and column 3. Inside column 1, we've got the balance. Let's say 2,000 or 200. Overdraft limits. Now, because okay, so we can do maximum amount of kind of borrow from the bank, which is after the bank balance, which is for okay. So the overdraft limit is going to be like 50.00. Withdrawal limit, the amount we can withdraw. So let's do 100.00.00. So I know that the data type for this is going to be a string. And the data type for this is going to be real. And remember, each column needs to have the same data type. Okay, we've got some rules here, but I'm going to look at the rules in a minute. We've got a variable called size, which is the number of counts. So it's going to be like our length. Got it. Okay, write a program that meets the following requirements. Checks the account ID exists. And the name and password entered by the account holder. Okay. So I'm assuming the user types in so let's do these as I'm going to do some inputs here. So let's make this a bit smaller. So we're going to have an input for the account ID. And I have an input for the name and password. So after we've done the account ID and it's all good, we're going to do the input name and password. Now I'm going to make a little side note. How am I going to check the input ID to see if it exists? Well, I'm going to compare it. Is it less than size? Size, if we noticed earlier, is where is it? It gave us a variable size. Contains the number of accounts. So if it's like the length 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we had that, size would be 4. So less than or equal to size. So if someone types 9, it will check against the number size, the variable size. If it's bigger than size, it's not allowed. Okay, so I'm getting the idea of that. We're then going to input the name and password. How are we going to check to see if that exists? We're going to use a for loop. With that times 2. Okay, cool. We're then going to display a menu. Allows an action to be chosen and completed. Each action is completed by a procedure with a parameter of the account ID. Okay, easy. Alright, so we have a menu. And a menu is going to be, I'm going to do it as an if statement. I'm going to need to input. We're then going to have some procedures. One procedure is to display. 1 withdraw, 1 deposit, and exit is going to be on the menu. So we're going to have, if we type deposit, we want to do that. If we want to do withdraw, it's going to do that. If we do display, it's going to do that. And this menu is going to keep displaying until we type in exit. So exit is going to quit. So this menu is going to be in a while loop. Okay. I think I've got it. So I'm going to start building this code, but I need to take into account these rules during that. So let's start off with, in fact, I'm going to type it for you because it's going to be neater. But before I do type it, I want you to give it a go yourself first. Pause the video, actually see if you can code this yourself. I'm going to do a solution in a second. Okay, so let me just get the IDE open. I've lost the actual, there we go. And let's do it. So we're going to have accounts, and that's going to be a 2D array. And this is put in Joe hello 1. Size equals length of accounts. Accounts, what's the other one? Details, so AC details equals, and if I remember rightly, this is that. This is just my made up data. Okay, cool. So the first thing I want to do is input the account ID. So account ID equals int input, enter in account ID. If, so now we're going to check to see if it's less than or equal to the size. So if account ID is less than or equal to size, we're going to carry on. Now, remember, we need to actually, because account ID 1 is actually 0, because it's in position 0, I just need to do this. Account ID equals account ID minus 1. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to input the name and password of the person. And match the name and password in the account. Okay. So, username equals input, enter in name. Actually, it's not username, it's like name, isn't it? Password equals input, enter password. Now, here's the thing. I made a mistake in my planning, so let's go back to that. I said that I'm going to have to loop through a 2D array to see if the username and the password match. But we don't need to do that because we know exactly what account ID we want to go to because we enter in here. So if I enter in account ID 2, we don't need to loop to find 2. We can just simply directly go to here and check, does it match this and does it match this? So, watch. If account, so if name equals account ID, no, not account ID, what's the name of our array? Add details. No, add details is, so account, sorry. I'm going to put in here account ID. So it's basically saying, okay, this is a row which we want. Now let's check column 0, does it match? Great. Now let's check to see if the password matches. If the password equals accounts account ID 1. So if both of these are true, we're going to carry on. Otherwise, we're going to quit. So I've just done this, but we didn't need a loop. So we've inputted the name and password, and we check to see if it exists. The next thing we want to do is do our menu. So to do that, I'm going to have a variable exit equals false, while exit equals false. We're going to run. Okay, so we're going to do choice equals input, type display, withdraw, deposit, exit. So once we've typed in the name, password, and everything's good, we're now doing the menu. If choice equals, let's do exit first. Exit becomes true, so that's going to quit. Else, actually elif. Choice equals display. We want something to happen. Elif choice equals withdraw. We want something to happen. And elif choice equals deposit. We want something to happen. And what does it want us to happen? It wants us to create these procedures: display, withdraw, deposit. And I always do procedures at the top. So let's do it. Def, display, def, withdraw, def, deposit. And let's call those procedures. Display, withdraw. I just had a brain fart. How do I do withdraw? There you go. I couldn't spell it. And deposit. And it's telling us that we want to pass in the parameter of the account ID. So we need to put into here account ID. This is a parameter. And there we go. It's going to call these. But what is display going to do? What is withdraw going to do? And what is deposit going to do? So let's look at these in a bit more information. Okay, so if we deposit money into our account, it's going to, this is deposit here, it's going to increase our account. So it's going to add, and it's going to add to column 1. But we need to enter an amount of what we want to deposit, so enter amount. And then add to column 1. If we withdraw, enter amount. And it's got to do a check. Check if amount, which I'm withdrawing, taking out, is less than column 2. Actually, column 1 even. That's what I want to check to start off with. So, is the amount I'm putting in less than what's in column 1? Sorry, column 2. No, column 1. So So if I'm taking out, this is my money, $200. If I want to take out $300, it shouldn't let me do that. It's detecting that. Now, if, one sec. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to check. We're then going to check to see if we're against our withdrawal limit for the day. So this is our withdrawal limit in this column here. So I need to check against there. So once I've checked to see if I've got enough money, check against withdrawal limit. But here's the thing, if we don't have enough money, we also have an overdraft. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just change this bit so it checks to see if the amount we want to take out is less than this plus the overdraft column, which is column 2. And this is checking against column 3. If this is good and this is good, we're going to then deduct from our account, from column 1, what we've just entered. So let's do it. Deduct against column 1, once that's all done. Okay, and then finally display, that's easy, I can just do print statements. So let's do that now. I've got my account IDs, but they need to go in here as well. They need to be passed into the procedure. Account ID. Account ID. Account ID. For display, let's just do it now. Print the amount of money I have, no, you have, not I have, you have in your account is. And remember, we don't need to loop anything, we can just go directly to the area we need based on the account ID. So I'm just going to do at details, column account ID, sorry, row account ID, column 0. So that'll display 200. Print your overdraft limit is account, so at details, account ID, column 1. Print your withdrawal allowance is at details, account ID 2. That's easy. Let's do deposit first before we do withdrawal, because withdrawal is a big one. So with this, I said what I was going to do is on my deposit, is there a limit that we can deposit into the account? Let's have a look, see if there's a rule. The amount of money in the bank can be negative, but not by, okay, that's fine. For example, yeah, but is there anything about how much we can put in? No. So let's do that here. Amount equals, now we're entering a real number, so I'm going to do float. Enter amount of new, oh, that doesn't make sense. Enter how much money you want to add to your account. So we then need to just add it to the column and the correct row. So at details, and then it's going to be account ID, that's for row, column 0 equals at details, account ID, column 0 plus what we've just typed in, which is the amount. So we type in our amount and it adds it on. So if I type in 700, my account value in my bank account, I wish it was like this at the moment, would be $900. Happy days. Deposit is done. Now let's do withdrawal. This has got a number of steps that I need to do. So first of all, we need to enter the amount, but we've done that already, so I can just do that again down here. I'm going to cheat. You can't do this in your exam. I'm going to take amount. There. Now what we want to do is check to see if we've got enough money to take out of a bank account, comparing it to how much money I've got and my overdraft combined. So we're going to do an if statement. If the amount is less than account details, account ID, column 0, plus account details, account ID, column 1 combined, so it's going to add up let's imagine it was 200, 200 plus 50, 250. If I want to take out 300, it won't let me. But it also, so once we've done that, we want to check it against the withdrawal limit. So let's imagine that I've got enough money to take out. But now let's check against my limit of how much I can do in a day. So if amount is less than, well, let's do equals to, sorry, as well, less than or equals to. Less than or equal to account details, account ID, column 2. Then I'm good. I need to update my money. So that's going to take away from here. Let's say it was $50. It'll mean I'm going to have 150 in my account. That's what's going to happen. And that is it. That is the completed code, I believe. Let's just go back to the question. That is perfect. By the way, by the way. This isn't how you do a 2D array in Python. Remember, you have it as 2 separate square brackets. This is pseudocode. Everything else is perfect. But the final thing we need to do is declare the variables we've used. So I've used amount, which is going to be a float or real number. We've used account ID, which is going to be, and size, which is an integer. We've used choice, name, password, exit's a boolean, which is string, and exit, which is a boolean. And that is it. This is the code in full, done.